several areas and controls new parts of Aleppo countryside. Iraqi forces continue operations against ISIS terrorist organization. Presidential and legislative elections in Brazil, as current President Rousseff is expected to win. Good afternoon. Welcome to our news bulletin. I'm Dania Nizam. Defense Minister General Fahad Jassim al-Frej yesterday visited a number of army units, inspecting their readiness and the operations they are conducting against terrorist organizations. Al-Frej relayed the greetings of President Bashar al-Assad to the soldiers, saying that the army's victories against terrorists will result in restoring security and stability to Syria, lauding the great sacrifices made by the soldiers in order to protect the country. The Defense Minister also visited injured army personnel, wishing them a quick recovery, as did Chief of General Staff of the Army and Armed Forces, General Ali Abdullah Ayoub. In Aleppo, Syrian Arab Army units eliminated a number of terrorists and destroyed their criminal tools during an operation against their gatherings in Hritan and Sharq al-Tayyara. The Syrian Arab Army units also destroyed a number of vehicles loaded with heavy machine guns with terrorists inside in Krom Aziza and al-Sheikh Lutfi. In Idleb province, Syrian Arab Army units have killed or wounded tens of terrorists, some of whom belonged to Jabhat al-Nusra and the so-called al-Sham and al-Aqsa. Moreover, army units have destroyed a den used by the terrorists, a big cache of mortar shells, and 17 vehicles, some of which are equipped with machine guns in Saraqib town. In the vicinity of Wadi Aql, other army units have killed 8 terrorists and wounded scores. In Dar'a countryside, army units have targeted terrorists' dens south of Khazan al-Asayla, killing or wounding many of them. On the eve of the 41st anniversary of October Liberation War, the national leadership of the Arab Socialist Ba'ath Party confirmed that the victories made by the Syrian Arab Army constitute an extension of its victories in October Liberation War against the Zionist enemy. The national leadership said in a statement that the battle waged by Syria today is to take Syria out of the cycle of confrontations with the Zionist enemy and liquidate the Palestinian cause. As the national leadership of the Ba'ath Arab Socialist Party stressed that Syria is standing fast in its war on terrorism and stand by any international honest effort to fight it. On this occasion, the leadership of the Palestinian Liberation Army staff confirmed in a statement that the October Liberation War formed the beginning of a new phase in the history of the modern Arab nation. The leadership said that Syria achieved remarkable victories and historic achievements in its battle against terrorism and the dark forces of Wahhabism and the Muslim Brotherhood. In Palestine, a Palestinian citizen died of wounds he sustained during the Israeli occupation aggression over Gaza Strip. On the other hand, the Israeli occupation forces arrested a Palestinian after raiding his house in Beni Naim town to the east of Hebron. As the occupation forces closed several town entrances and the main streets in the occupied Jerusalem to prevent its citizens from moving during the days of Eid al-Adha. In Lebanon, the Lebanese army foiled an infiltration attempt by terrorists from Ersal plains towards Ersal town. The National Agency for Media clarified that the Lebanese army confronted terrorists in Ersal plains. The Lebanese army commander stressed readiness to face any terrorist attack as he expected new fights with terrorists on the outskirts of Ersal town. Iraqi army have continued its qualitative operations to repel terrorists of the ISIS from those areas where they are positioned. Iraq jet fighters killed many of the ISIS terrorists by targeting their hideouts in many areas like Al-Fadiliya and Al-Abid north of Babel. Spokeswoman of Iran's Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Marzieh Afkham, has said that her country supports the Algerian initiative to launch dialogue among the belligerent factions in Libya, reiterating Iran's rejection of any foreign interference in Libya's internal affairs. Afkham added that dialogue is the only means to find a way out and put an end to violence and instability in Libya. She voiced hope that this initiative would contribute in strengthening peace and stability in Libya and north of Africa. More than 142 million Brazilians cast their ballots since the early hours of the morning in the runoff to choose a new president. Amid intense competition between the current president Dilma Rousseff and her rival, the opposition candidate Marina Silva, the opinion polls suggest President Rousseff will win a new term as president. The Bulgarian voters began to cast their ballots in the early morning for early legislative elections, which are the second in 20 months. 18 parties compete in the elections and 7 coalitions to grab the voices of 875.6 million registered voters, including 7.5 million living in Bulgaria and more than 1 million voters living abroad. The Polls Institute expect the victory of Citizens for the Development of Democracy in Bulgaria, party led by former Conservative Prime Minister Boyko Borisov, who resigned last year after protests against poverty and corruption. And with this, we end our news bulletin for today. Thank you for watching us. For more news, you can always visit our website on syriaonline.sy. After the break, it's Vani with our economic business news. From me, I would like to wish you a very pleasant and peaceful Eid al-Adha. God bless you all.